What's going on, New York Yankee fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops video drops. We'll be live for the Red Sox-Astros game tonight. I wanted to do the Braves game, but I didn't realize till this afternoon that it was at 5 o'clock. And I'm like, I can't do that. So 8 o'clock is kind of my free time, and I don't have to get up early tomorrow. So I said, you know what, I'll do a game of two teams that I absolutely despise and two teams I'm not going to be rooting for if either one goes to the World Series. But it's playoff baseball, so I'm going to commentate on it. I'm going to watch it. It's something, right? So let's get down to it. Aaron Boone was brought back by the Yankees. It was officially announced today. He was brought back on a 3-year contract with a 4th-year option for him to come back as Yankees manager, and I believe in 2025. But just some thoughts before we get into the meat and potatoes of it. I'm not going to sit here and make a rant for 20 minutes because that is pretty pointless if you ask me. But this just shows the disconnect between the fan base and the front office and Hal Steinbrenner. Hal Steinbrenner, he's probably on a yacht somewhere, or maybe somewhere down in Florida at a country club or something like that. He's so disconnected from the fans. And, you know, I could see where a lot of people kind of have the issue of people using George's name in vain, but George would have been very active, and he actually cared about this team. Hal doesn't care about this team. You know, we don't know what the situation would have been if George was still alive and if his brother Hank was still alive. I'm not going to talk about any speculation or conclusions or anything about that, but he just doesn't give a shit about this team. And there are still other siblings still alive, so I don't understand how they're not in his ear, which doesn't make any sense. But Brian Cashman, I don't want to hear any words about the word cash god. I don't want to hear any discussions about that. You know, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. This team is a joke. It's not a serious baseball team. And it's just a joke. I really want to get into this stuff, and I don't want to make this video 20 minutes long because you guys have better things to do, and also it's not stuff that we were surprised by, you know? So I'm going to read some quotes from the press conference today. I really don't listen to a lot of press conferences. I don't really take quotes from press conferences. I do it occasionally with the Giants. With the Yankees, I'll do it very, very rarely. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. I'll have some stuff to talk about at the end, and then you guys can go about the rest of your night. So Brian Cashman, let's open up about the Boone comments. Let's open up about the kissing ass. So Brian Cashman says other general managers around the league have told him they're impressed with Aaron Boone. He said, "It was good to hear from afar how other people perceive him because I'm on the front line and it's got nothing but great respect for how he goes about his business." He also went on to say, "I thought Aaron Boone was part of the solution. He wasn't the problem." He also said, "If he was entering the free agent market, I believe he would be the number one candidate in terms of a manager candidate. He would be the number one managerial candidate in baseball." My guy, you're losing it. You're 50-something years old and you're fucking losing it already. You are so disconnected from your fan base, it's not even funny. This team is such in a time warp, it's not even funny. They can't develop their own players. They go out, they have to sign free agents to compensate for that. And it just, Aaron Boone would have been the number one managerial candidate, really? Not somebody like a Buck Showalter or Bruce Bochy. Guys who have had winning teams and championships and actually know how to hold their players accountable. It just sickens me. Anything else for me to take on this? Oh, big one. If people are telling you, especially your rivals, if people are telling you in terms of other general managers across the league that Aaron Boone is a good manager, it's probably not a good thing because you're helping them. Yes, you're helping them. Rays got past you. The Red Sox got past you. The Blue Jays will next year. And you know what, folks? It's not like the Yankees are as talented as the Orioles. They are the most talented team, in my opinion, in the AL East. Where did they land? Third place. The Blue Jays were this much away from taking it away from us. And next year, you better believe that the Blue Jays are going to be on our ass again. And hell, we couldn't beat the Orioles. We had an under 500 record against the AL East. And we were the most talented team. And don't give me this crap, oh, the manager doesn't matter in baseball. That is not true. Look at what the Red Sox are doing. I don't know if Bobby Dahlbeck was a prospect, so I'm not going to speak on that, but I never heard of the guy before this year and some of the other guys on their team, to be honest with you. But that team right now could be winning the World Series. That team could be winning the World Series. And Alex Cora knows how to hold his players accountable. Everybody saw when Eduardo Rodriguez, he did this, mocking Carlos Correa. You saw Alex Cora screaming from the dugout, hey, no. You saw him screaming that because A, he knows what they did. B, because he gets the players, trying to find the word here. He puts the players in the corner. He puts the players in their place. And he talked to him afterwards. You could tell after what happened, Eduardo Rodriguez felt bad because Alex Cora made him feel bad and screamed at him. Now, how is that in comparison to a situation like the Yankees? Because Aaron Boone is not a disciplinarian. He lets players walk all over him. They're not even friends. They're friends that would not do the same for you when you do the same for them. They're like those type of friends, if you will. And Gleyber Torres, apparently that one time against the Braves, after he jogged out a chopper to the mound, after he jogged it out, apparently he had a talk with him. Well, it didn't get to him because later on in the year, he did the same thing. These guys need to be held accountable, and Boone is not that guy. So don't tell me, oh, the manager doesn't matter. The Rays won the division this year. And you could argue, oh, well, they didn't get past the Red Sox. Both teams have under-talented teams and overachieved because their manager was a key part, and so was their coaching staff. This coaching staff was terrible. And we'll get into it a little bit later. I don't want to spend too much time talking about one thing. So if you guys want to hear about injuries, Cashman updated the media in terms of injuries. He said that DJ LeMahieu is going to have an 8-week recovery on his core injury. He's going to be ready for spring training. In terms of Jameson Taillon, he's supposed to have surgery on the 28th, about a 5-month recovery. So November, December, January, February, March. So it should kick in right about April, in my opinion. So the Yankees might miss him early. And I'm saying if they don't get any starting pitching, it's probably going to be Domingo Germán filling in for him. Because in my opinion, the rotation will probably look something like Cole, Severino, Montgomery, Germán, Cortez. Something like that. Hicks is hoping to play winter ball. Should be fine by December. Yeah, that's probably not going to do anything. And Voit expects to be ready for spring training. Yeah, like you're not going to trade him, all right. Let's see, what else? Cashman said this on what he sees as the Yankees' problem or problems. There was certainly a lot of frustration that I'm going to take responsibility for. We went backwards in areas we didn't expect, and that he meant specifically the bullpen and the offense. Let's talk about some other ones. In terms of free agency, in terms of what this offseason could be, other than bringing back the loyal, the royal Aaron Boone. Cashman hasn't been told by ownership what the team's payroll budget will be for 2022. Brian Cashman on the trade market and free agents. We will be open-minded and do anything and everything on this roster, as we should be. Okay, Brian. Okay. He also said this. I'm in charge of personnel. I'm in charge of bringing in the best talent I possibly can. This was a tough team to figure out. Okay, you started out with Mike Talkman and Mike Ford. That was very hard to figure out. This year might have been my toughest year. It was somewhat of a Jekyll and Hyde. It was a lot of Hyde, all right. I mean, I'm literally comparing this year to 2013. 2013 was horrible. You know, you brought in guys like Kevin Youkilis and Mark Reynolds and Lyle Overbay, You know, that team was heavily injured. Obviously, we had the COVID streak this year, but this team and both teams really underperformed. But both teams were just horrible. So if you want to make your points, make your points. So let's talk about some other things regarding certain players and certain positions as well. So he talks about shortstop. Bottom line, shortstop is an area of need. This is probably the last thing he said in regards to position. He stated the obvious, saying that Gleyber Torres is best suited at second base. Now, from what we suspect, from what we hear, according to multiple sources, Anthony Rizzo may not be coming back, and DJ LeMahieu will move over to first base. In my opinion, that's not a good thing. Gleyber Torres, I don't know how he's going to be. Me personally, this is just a nervous feeling of mine. I don't know how he's going to look at second base for a full year. DJ LeMahieu, I don't think that he's a full-time first baseman. He's a platoon player. Not saying he's not good or anything. Which leaves you with the backup of Chris Gittens, who had limited time in the majors last year. You really don't have another backup first baseman from what I'm gathering. So, if you have first base issues and you don't re-sign Rizzo and you trade Voit, then sucks to suck, doesn't it? Let's see what else. He also said, there are some areas of weakness that have popped up in a lot of categories that hadn't existed prior to this year. Needs to figure out if those weaknesses are systemic or not. Let's read these two dandy quotes, and I want to get to another quote as well. The catching position is one of many we'll be evaluating. He also said this right before that. Let's see, where do I start? I know Gary has worked his tail off. At times, the results might not be there, but I'm proud that we have a guy with a lot of heart, a lot of care, and a lot of effort. If you fucking work hard enough, and if you work hard enough, you work day by day by day with the catching coach and all these other coaches that you have, the results should get better. I'm sorry, Gary Sanchez is lazy and is still lazy. You notice the difference? And someone said on Twitter, oh, managers, they don't make a difference. They wouldn't have made a difference in Torres and Sanchez. Torres would have been benched. And rightfully so. And let's see, what was the connection between Girardi and Sanchez again? What was that? Oh, right. Tony Pena, too. They're all catchers. Aaron Boone was not really much of anything in his major league career. Then again, Joe Girardi did win a couple of championships, wasn't necessarily the greatest all-star catcher of all time. But what I'm trying to say is, Joe Girardi, Tony Pena, they were disciplinarians, but they also knew how to catch because they did that in their major league careers. Tony Pena was also a manager before joining the Yankees. He was a manager, I believe, of the Royals. But don't tell me a manager does not matter because, yeah, a manager matters. It's just whether you're choosing the narrative of it mattering or not and whether your organization wants it to matter or not. Or if you want it to be a puppet or not. But Gary Sanchez, he needs to go. And let's be real here. You only need 1 year of a stopgap. If you want to trade for somebody long term, you can do that. If you want to get somebody off the free agent market, you can do that for 1 year. But you have guys like Austin Wells and Antonio Gomez in the minor leagues. Within a year or so, one of them should be ready. And you could even have a stopgap in your system. You don't need a Brian McCann or a JT Realmuto right away. You could get Donnie Sands and some of these other guys. The problem is that as Yankee fans, we expect the most. We expect the most talent and the most progression as a team. Meanwhile, you take a look at the Red Sox, who, they're a big market, bigger than some of these other teams. Meanwhile, they have guys you never heard of playing at different spots, and they're going to win the World Series because the manager gets the best out of those players. So, about a third of our problems would not exist had our manager been actually a manager and not a fucking friend. Cashman also went on to say, I'm paraphrasing, I don't think people should really, say and predict how much money Hal has in his pocket. Really? That just shows the ignorance of this organization. Because you go back, guys, to spring training of 2021. Mike Ford, Mike Tauchman, those guys were on the opening day roster. When they didn't figure it out in the regular season, when they were bad, they got traded. And then at the deadline, and that's why you also had to make the move for Rougned Odor, because you didn't have any lefties. Wouldn't have been a good idea to go get a lefty, not named Brett Gardner? And watch, you know what? At this point, why not bring back Brett Gardner? Why not? Why not bring back Brett Gardner? You brought back Aaron Boone. Let's make the same team we did last year. And then let's throw shit at the wall, see if it sticks, and see if there's different results. So don't tell me all these things, money, oh, this, that, and the other thing. Because why was he, meaning Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman too, because he does spend the money, why are you willing at the trade deadline to go over the luxury tax for guys like Gallo, guys like Andrew Heaney who didn't work out, guys like Rizzo, guys like Clay Holmes? Why were you trading a bunch of prospects and players that were not supposed to be a part of the future or something that, I'm rumbling and rambling here, but you guys didn't think that Justin Wilson and Luis Cessa are part of the future. Yeah, great. We could have used Cessa. But my point in this is, you went over the luxury tax in July at the trade deadline, right? Trade for Gallo, all these other guys. Because you were scratching and clawing for the playoffs. You were scratching, you were clawing. You're behind the Red Sox, behind the Rays. I don't know if you were behind the Blue Jays at that time. But you had to. You put the false hope sense into your fans at the beginning of 2021 by putting Mike Ford, Brett Gardner, and Mike Tauchman on the field as potential starters. And you put the false hope on the field, hoping that they would return to the players they were. Come on. That's why this year I'm not getting my hopes up about any of these fucking platoon players. Oh, Andrew Velasquez, he's going to take the Yankees to the World Series. Shut up. Stop. I'm not believing that shit anymore. Fucking fairy tales. Anyway, let's talk about this. Let me take a quick sip. Okay. This just shows how many media shills are out there. Lindsey Adler, Brandon Cootie, some of these other guys. But here's a quote from Sweeney Murdy. This is on Twitter. This has absolutely really nothing to do with what Cashman said, but with all to do what Sweeney Murdy said. Yankees WFAN on Twitter. We heard pushback from Cashman on whether his analytics department has too much input, and from Boone on the idea that he is a puppet, or in his words, a straw man. My thought, after being in a position for 4 years, why would Boone come back if he were just a puppet with no input? Why wouldn't he come back, dude? How about you freaking think? Instead of being a shill to WFAN. Because we all know, they do call the Yankees games on the radio. Are we clueless here? Why wouldn't he come back? If he, only has to go into an office, manage the team, and be supposedly friends with the players, and say yes to everything, and give these supposed journalists corporate answers, he would take that for anything. And he also said, he could have had a TV job. What's better than being the supposed manager of the New York Yankees, the 27 World Championship New York Yankees? What's better than that? being a host on a TV show or a talk show at ESPN or commentating on the Little League World Series? Come on. Some people just don't have common sense. This is why you guys need to stop relying on the beat reporters and start relying on people on YouTube who actually put out the content. And that's going to be a part of something. But Cashman's comments on Boone, the total puppet comments. Total puppet comments. What am I to say to that? This organization isn't serious. They're not a serious baseball team. And I'm sorry. We'll see what happens in the offseason, but right now, 3rd and 4th place looks really good for the Yankees. The Blue Jays, in my opinion, they look like a team that's thirsty for more after last year. They're going to get a full year playing in Toronto, not in Dunedin, not in Buffalo. So that's going to be extra momentum, extra built-in anger. We didn't make the playoffs last year, so let's motivate ourselves and propel up to 2nd place, up to 3rd place. The Yankees will be sitting at the bottom with the Orioles if this is the route they're going to go. And once again, don't tell me about money, because from what we've been hearing, Trevor Story is more likely than guys like Carlos Correa. Now, a lot of Yankee fans want Carlos Correa. Personally, I don't think you have to go that route. You could stick with Peraza. I would like that personally. But if you wanted to go out in the market, go get Corey Seager. He's a lefty. He's an okay hitter. You don't need that much pizzazz on defense. You need coaching is what you need besides the players on the field. Some more things before we wrap up this video. It just sticks to me that this organization has so much arrogance and they're blaming the players constantly. Nothing's on the coaching. Yeah, they fired 3 coaches. They're not coming back next year. But Phil Nevin and Marcus Thames were the scapegoats. The disconnect from the minors and the major leagues is something. Because when you have the Tampa Tarpons and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders doing really good, and all these other teams in your system doing good, the only teams that were hovering around 500 were the rookie teams, which tells you something. With that being said, the Yankees farm system had the first best, the second best record in terms of major league teams and major league franchises. I believe the Rays were one of them. And then your team, as a major league team, who was supposed to be a first place team, by the way, finishes in 3rd place. So you must be doing something wrong in the major leagues. Estevan Florial was hitting 300 in the major leagues. Wasn't doing the greatest in terms of batting average in the minors. Comes up to the majors, but no, let's send him down because there are better players than him apparently. Let's trade for Joey Gallo because he hits home runs. I'm telling you guys, Trevor Story and Joey Gallo may seem like the cat's meow. Well, trust me, it's impressive that Joey Gallo hits almost 40 home runs a year. Trevor Story can do things with his glove, but Trevor Story is not always healthy all the time. But the thing with those 2 guys is they were stuck on an island on terrible teams. They're the cat's meow in Colorado and Texas. They may not be in New York. So that's not necessarily a reason to get them. They may not make it in the Big Apple, which is something, and something you have to be proactive rather than reactive about. So I also wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees got Andrelton Simmons as their shortstop next year. Because the way they are in terms of money and how they spend it. Unbelievable. They're going to give somebody a stupid contract. The only guy that they should extend, from what I know this offseason, is Aaron Judge. And nobody has talked about that. Nobody's talking about that. I don't know why. Let's see. Accountability. Going back to the bench coach thing. I don't know why you're looking for a bench coach to discipline. If Buck Showalter is the bench coach, for example, and he instills discipline in the players and actually acts more of a manager than Aaron Boone does, why is Boone getting the credit? Because he's labeled as manager? It's stupid and it's disgusting. Gary Sanchez, going back to the quote, we would see the results if he actually worked hard every day. Some players in the MLB and all these other guys, they're not satisfied. They want more. There's hunger there. There's hunger there. Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichetti, all these other guys, all these young cats, they want more. Gleyber Torres and Gary Sanchez are satisfied because they're on a Yankees roster they're getting paid and they don't have to work extra because their manager is trying to be their best friend. And let me say one more thing before I leave. A lot of people are going on Twitter and Instagram, going to tweets and Instagram posts and replying, well, I'm going to protest, I'm going to boycott. And then people are replying, oh, you're not going to do it, you won't do it. No. How about you shut up and let people live their lives? Because guess what? The people replying are probably millennials who have watched this team for 3 years and think Aaron Boone is the best of all time. They don't need to prove their fandom to you. Because guess what? Those people that are boycotting, and I'm not going to boycott. I'm going to sit here and watch my team. Maybe I'll go to 1 to 2 Yankee games next year. I'm not going to go to 7. I'm not going to go to 10 Yankee games next year. Though I live an hour and a half away from the stadium, I'm not going to boycott. But I'm not going to sit here and go to 7 games next year and overspend on money, on sodas, on ice cream. That's disgusting. Trust me, their ice cream, in my opinion, is disgusting. It tastes like fucking Play-Doh. But the point is, why are you bothering people? Why are you shaking the tree? Why are you poking the sleeping bear up? If they want to boycott, who cares? It's not like it's for some stupid-ass reason. If they want to boycott because Aaron Boone is the manager, let them. Let them boycott. Do not poke the sleeping bear, because guess what, folks? They probably know more than you do. So I understand you people may disagree with the whole boycott aspect, but leave them alone. It's not like this team is perfect that nobody should be boycotting. Because guess what? We are far from good. We are far from perfect in the Yankee standard. With that being said, guys, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when live stream probably drops. This may have been longer than intended, but I had to get everything out. Red Sox, Astros game, I'm going to do that at 8 p.m. tonight, so stick around. Only about 37% of you guys are subscribed. We're only a couple away from 300. As the subscriber count goes up, we got less people viewing who are subscribed, which is natural in the YouTube algorithm. So please, if you're viewing this, subscribe. More content, more great content, better than some of the other people out there, and also more people to engage with who have similar and maybe dissenting opinions. So, peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool, and go Yankees.